I'm originally from Afghanistan. I was actually born there, but because of the war there, my parents decided to move in the year 1990 to India. So we lived in India for about 8 years. Since the age I was 6 till 14, we lived there
Hmm.
as refugees. Life was a bit difficult in India because of my parents' refugee status. They obviously couldn't work, but somehow we made it work. I'd like to say that my childhood was fairly normal. I did my elementary and middle school in India, and then in
Mm.
'98, when we were able to move to the U.S., I was a teenager. So you can only imagine the culture shock that I felt as a 14-year
Right.
old starting high school in a brand new country in a developed nation. Um, so it wasn't easy, but because I had this resiliency, I would say, like as a refugee, you're always like, I'm gonna forge ahead, I'm gonna carve my own path. I kind of like blocked all the noise or felt like it wasn't affecting me and focused on my career. Like I was very sure about where I wanted to go in my career. I did really well in high school,
Hmm.
graduated with honors, got accepted to UC Davis. I went to Davis, did my major in genetics
Hmm.
for 5 years. And then I also did a certificate in biotechnology, and that kind of paved the way for me to get into research, where I got the opportunity to work at these wonderful labs run by these female scientists who were pioneers in the field of female reproductive tract, HIV, urology. So it was a great learning experience. And it was during this time working in academia that I was able to publish. I'm a published author of 3 or 4 scientific papers, first author papers, and things were going well, but I felt like I needed a change, so I made the switch to biotech industry.
Mm.
There I worked for about 4 years, and I specialized in immuno-oncology, so cancer research. It was during my time in the biotech industry where I was making really good money, 6-figure salary, that I felt something was off. I
Mm.
just wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel like I wasn't living my authentic self.
Yeah.
And slowly I started asking questions, and I was referred to hypnotherapy. Um, and through hypnotherapy, I got introduced to Reiki, and before you knew it, I realized what I was missing all along.
Right.
So yeah.
Wow, it's crazy to go from like like science and very focused on that to, I mean, I guess it's physics. What we do now with
It is.
energy, it's physics. And it's fascinating. Before I ask about the first time you ever experienced Reiki, um, how many siblings do you have?
There's 5 of us, so I have 4 siblings, and I'm the second oldest.
And when you from India, how did your parents decide to come to California?
So we, our extended family, like my uncles and aunts, were already in U.S.
Uh,
And because of the immigration system was really difficult in the '90s for us to come right away. That's
yeah.
why we had to wait for about 8 years and wait till my
Wow.
grandmother got her citizenship in the U.S. and then she could sponsor us legally, and then we came here. So yeah,
Wow.
those 8 years in India were interesting, very formative years.
Yeah. Wow. Did you hear of chakras back then, or like did you like anything in the spiritual, not like now looking back?
I did. It was like I would
Yeah.
watch movies and they would talk about chakras. They would talk about past lives, and because I grew up Muslim, um,
Yeah.
I honestly didn't pay too much attention to it. I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's for entertainment. It was something like in the background. I was like, okay, I gotta
Yeah.
focus on school. I gotta focus on science. So
Yeah.
that
That's
was
so
my
funny how it
motivation.
comes like back around now.
It's insane. I feel like maybe the seed were sown back then. Who knows? Like my subconscious mind absorbed it, and somehow I felt connected to all that.
8 years in India. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So take me back to the first time that you experienced Reiki. And what was that like for you?
So the first time I experienced Reiki, I was actually not doing very well. I was in a terrible place in life with somebody, and I felt really stuck, and I couldn't process my emotions at all. So somebody performed Reiki on me, this one girl, and right away she worked on me for about 20 minutes, and she's like, "Yeah, your throat chakra is blocked." And I just didn't think of it much. I was like, "Okay." And I came home, and then within 2 hours, like it was like release, crying like nonstop. Just I would say for a solid hour where I was just like,
Wow.
yeah, bawling my eyes out. And it felt, this was one of the first times where after crying I felt good. It was one of
Yeah.
those cries where it just like it was a release for me.
Yeah.
um it was weird because as I was crying I was able to even smell the person that was causing me pain. I,
Oh,
I,
wow.
I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a very different experience where I was like, what is happening to me? Why am I feeling this way? This is like I haven't seen this person in so long and I can still smell them on me. It's because everything was just like releasing from my body, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, after that I kind of became more intrigued with the Reiki and NLP and hypnotherapy, and I kind of went more into that route. And
Hmm.
yeah, before you knew it, I'm making trying to make a career out of it right now.
Yeah. And you are, and you have clients and you're working with them. And I know we've worked together. And I want to like commend you for taking your healing journey seriously. Some people you know, they see, oh, Reiki, that's really cool. Why don't I do that and make it a business? And they don't work on themselves. And I always say, like, you can only take your client, to the depths that you have gone in your own journey, and you've been very committed to your healing. And
Oh, thank you.
I think that's
I
important.
No, I
Yeah.
always say that I'm my number one client.
Yeah.
And like I mean, and the way this intuitive work works is like
Yeah.
if you don't believe in it, if you're not good in it, then your client is not gonna feel it and they're not gonna heal. So
Yeah.
I realize that like until and unless I'm working on myself, there's no way I can help anybody else. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And we all have stuff we need to still work on, even me, so it's really good to just like lead by example and continue to put yourself, like you said, number one client, working
Yeah.
on yourself and continuing to learn and be curious about all this work. And you are, very curious and continue to learn, and bringing in new tools, because I always think that's important. Like every year that I would always set up a couple classes just to kind of continue education, right? Just continue to
Right.
learn and get more tools in your toolbox to help people. So I know you have several tools in your toolbox right now, but if you want to talk more about those tools that you're using.
Sure. So I'm also certified in hypnotherapy as well as NLP, so neuro linguistic programming. And
Yeah.
I'm also very excited about NLP just because it just uses simple language to bypass your conscious mind and speak directly to your subconscious mind. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I've noticed, like if you don't have a connection with your own subconscious mind, if you don't connect with your core, with who you are, then there's no way you can connect with anybody outside.
Yeah.
And I feel like growing up, I always lacked that. I always, there's a term in psychology that says um, locus of control. My locus of control was always external. I always looked for outside sources to make me feel good. And I feel like through Reiki and
Yeah.
hypnotherapy and NLP, I've been able to have a more internal locus of control and just trust my own gut instincts, like trust in my own decision making. Um,
And that was your journey. I remember the first day you wanted to have more self-trust in your intuition, and with
yeah.
when your gut is telling you this, to like, is this correct? Yes, this is correct. Or no, that's not for me. And I think that's important, that these tools have brought you closer to like being fully aligned with,
Right.
trusting
Right.
yourself and your intuition and listening, um
I mean,
to
you
those.
have been a great guide, honestly, Greg. I wouldn't have been able to get halfway without you.
But it takes the commitment, and that's why I really am saying, like, whoever's watching this video needs to know, it's like they're not just going to come into our office and we're going to sprinkle fairy dust on them and it's just going to be like, oh wow, we're better. Like, it really takes commitment to your healing journey and prioritizing yourself and scheduling those things in,
Yeah. Yeah.
and working on those things. And when you go home after a session, like really sitting down and like working on those things. So it's important. And you, like I said, you're an example of that you've
Yeah.
like worked on those things. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's addicting, honestly. Once you get into this, it's like you go in
Yeah.
and it feels so good because you're getting to know so much about yourself. It's like you're meeting yourself for the first time. So
And you also know, and we talked about this, how important it is for someone, because I know people watching this, some are new starting this healing journey. It's important to find someone you trust.
oh
And
my God,
that's
yes.
really, really, you want to speak to that a little bit of just finding the right healer that you can trust and be vulnerable with, and that can hold that space for you. That's important.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good question and good
Yeah.
statement. Yeah, I've gone through some stuff in my past where I didn't trust the person who was treating me, yet I went ahead and it hurt me in the long run badly. So I try to tell women or anybody, it's like if you go in and you feel something is wrong, like you're not gelling well, just trust that part of you that's saying like
Yeah.
something's off. Trust that and don't stay
Right.
because um
Yep.
with intuitive stuff, once they get inside your subconscious mind, then it's really difficult to like have any control over yourself. So yeah, that's I would tell that to my clients.
Yeah.
Like it has to be a
Yeah.
rapport.
And
It
I
has
think,
to be. Go ahead.
yeah, rapport, finding the right healer. Not everyone's for everyone. Um, intentions are, knowing what their intentions are. And I think that's what makes you so passionate with like really helping women, and holding that safe space for women, you know. Um, and so
Definitely.
tell us a little bit more about those people that you're like super excited to work with.
Oh my God, yes, obviously women, number one.
Yeah.
I've always felt like I'm a I'm a woman first before anything else. So yeah, my clients would like I gravitate more towards women, and because I come from a like a patriarchal society
Yeah.
myself, and I've been
Yep.
an immigrant, and even though I've had all these outside accomplishments, deep down I was always still felt like I wasn't good enough,
Yeah.
and that's slowly coming off from me. So I want to give that to other women. I want them to experience like being whole on their own, and also because I've been a refugee and I know their plight, what it's like.
Yeah.
I would love to help the refugees, anybody from any country, Islamic, Afghan, because my background is Afghan. I also speak Hindi, so I can help my Indian friends.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, this women, immigrants, Muslims, Afghans, Indians, all are welcome. Honest, and anybody, to be honest, just
Yeah.
like because I'm an empath, I can connect to people easily. I mean, we
Yeah.
all are empaths.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day,
And
we're all human.
I mean, you just recently came back from a trip too, so you don't just talk about helping immigrants, but you live it. And you were just in Turkey, right?
Yes, I was
Yeah.
in Greece,
Oh,
so I
Greece,
was
Greece.
yes, yes. I was there for about 3 months, this last August, and I volunteered at a refugee camp, um, inside the warehouse.
You
Yeah.
realize you went from like a science job in Silicon Valley
Yes.
going, okay, this is great money, but there's a huge part of me that this does not feel aligned to
Yeah.
my purpose in this body and on earth right now. This something is not aligning. And then you leave that arena, and then you let me know that, hey, I'm going to go to Greece for a little while because I want to go serve people. And that's what
Yeah.
goes aligned to me. And that's who you are.
Yeah,
And
I realize like I'm happiest when I'm like serving from my heart. Like
yeah,
there's because sometimes I honestly don't even want to talk about money. Like volunteering is
yeah,
completely different because that's no money. But even like when I
right.
see clients now, one of the hardest thing for me is to like tell them how much I charge,
Just
tell
let them
them
pay ahead of time so that by the time they get to the session, then you don't have to worry about it. And that's my best advice is you handle that before the session. Like now is so easy with, PayPal, Venmo, all these different ways
that's
people
true.
can pay. Let them handle that at the beginning, and I just focus on the session because I was like that too. When I started, I just wanted to focus. Like when they walked in, like like if they didn't remind me they had to pay me, I would have forgot half the time, because I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to, do the session and like listen to their story and help give them feedback and ask questions and help them navigate whatever they're going through. So
Right.
yeah, there was so many times where we had such a great session and then like the clients like driving away. Like 20 minutes later, it's like, oh, when I get home, I'm gonna, send you the money or whatever, right? And or I'll mail your check or because we just would forget
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like, you're just there to serve and help.
Yeah,
So
and you get so much out of just helping somebody and seeing a difference in them. It just, I don't know, it warms my heart.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think your story is so amazing. Just the journey that your family has gone through to be here and then, you know, for you to be serving women, because you come, you know, like you said, from a society that doesn't treat or value women the same that they do men.
No, they
um
don't.
Not at all. Yeah. And then to walk away from like a Silicon Valley
I
science
know.
techie job, to go, you know what, I really want to pursue what lights me up, and what the world really needs more is healers right now.
Right,
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
exciting. Any
It's great. Go ahead.
last like tips that you have for people who are just starting out on their healing journey, who are like, oh, I kind of heard about hypnotherapy, I kind of heard about Reiki, I don't really know if I really want to jump into this. um any tips for them?
I would tell them to do your research, read up on it, find more information from your friends and family. But honestly, do your own research, and
Yeah.
I think it's great. Like, that's the first step. The fact that you've heard about it and you're inquisitive about it, that's a great first step. And yeah, you just know that you're always in control,
Yeah.
of saying no if you don't feel comfortable.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, you're your own person and you can make your own decision. And that's what I always tell my clients. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this for you. So if it's not benefiting you, you tell me.
Right.
But yeah, I would say, and anybody who's on a healing journey and they want to try these intuitive ways, I would just say to not give up, because sometimes your own family wouldn't understand it, because
Oh yeah.
the way this society we're raised in, it's all like, go get a job, work. So you might face some rejection from family members, because that's what happened
Right.
to me.
I think we all have, right?
Yes,
Literally everyone on the heal team has
yes,
gone or is going through, you know, having, I always say, be comfortable with making people uncomfortable, because that's
right.
where we just are right now in our journey. Like, people are going to be uncomfortable around you as they see you grow and progress, and you know, face some old traumas and bring things up and heal. Like, it makes other people uncomfortable,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. So
And that's
I
okay.
would say it's not always roses and sunshine. There's a lot of shadow work. You have to
Yeah.
work on yourself. You have to deal with a lot of judgment sometimes, but it's worth it. Honestly, those moments when you feel like yourself, they're so worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm work in progress, but I love being on this journey, and I would love for others to come join me.
Yeah. And if they want to reach out, they can just click the button for the contact form, just fill out their information, and then you'll get back to them within a day, I'm guessing, if not sooner. And you can set up your 15-minute, you know, discovery call or free consultation with them, and
Yep.
then see if they're the right fit. And like you said, everyone needs to do their own research and really feel out the right healer to work with, because it is ultimately a very intimate session, and you want to feel like that person can hold space and you can trust them to open
Exactly.
up, and you
Exactly.
can work through all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because you're
um
working with some deep stuff,
yeah, yeah,
and you want someone that you
absolutely.
can trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that way, like, you can put it all on the table, and like, you can really start getting to work. Because, you know, I think in my 10 years of doing this, there was maybe like 3 people who said to me, like, I can't be fully honest with you, like,
Mm.
because they weren't ready,
Right. That
or
makes
they
sense.
thought I was going to judge them. And I'm like, trust me, you can say anything to me, and I probably heard it, and like, I won't judge you, it's fine, you know, I'm just here to help. But it's hard to take that person from where they are to where they want to be if they're not telling you everything, you know.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So,
there has to be trust.
trust is so important.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you understand, that.
Oh yeah,
So
I've seen the
yeah.
dark side of it. I've seen
Yeah.
that side where you're
From a
not
client
trusted.
perspective, you've seen it.
Yes. So I know like what abuse of power means.
Yeah.
Because at
And
the end of the
that's
day,
another thing you said, you're passionate about helping people
yes.
heal from that
Yes,
as well.
because I've been a victim of somebody who was in a position of power and they
Yeah.
abused it. I was the victim, and I know what it feels like,
Yeah.
when you lose all trust in yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be, I would love to help people who've
Mhm.
gone through that. I hope nobody else has to go through
Right.
what I went through. Like, my hope is like
Yeah.
nobody
No.
should. But if they have, then I'm here for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just reach out to Nargis and fill out that form and set up that consultation, and she will take care of you. So thank
Yeah.
you for being on. I appreciate you. Continue to do the good work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Britt. Thank
Of
you.
course.
Appreciate it.